Yeah,
You're saying you're hearing that spending is halted from.
yes. So, and I get it, right? Like, this is a new thing. They didn't plan for this, but when we articulate the value of hiring a video strategist or having a video strategist on site in place, it's like this quantum shift for the entire management to make, because it's something you want to do. When you implement something like this, it's got to be a tops down thing. And when it's a tops down thing, now you're talking culture change. And when you lead a company into a video centric marketing, sales, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, we're asking a lot. It's not just, hey, sign up for Vidyard and start making videos. It's hey, we got to show you the behaviors. We got to show you the how you can leverage video to streamline repetitive processes and how you can deliver more efficiently. And as we go through this conversation with customers, it's very enlightening to many. And I think I see all the lights go off in their head, and I see them being very charged about, hey, this is something we definitely got to do. But, one of the things that I learned early on is and it's part of that transparency sale. It's hey, you guys got to allocate, $35,000, $40,000, $50,000 for consulting and hiring a videographer, having people trained to be in front of that camera. And so, yeah, I think the biggest part right now is that the economy's kind of goofy. There's all kinds of weird stuff going on. We're in fourth quarter. They didn't plan for it. So yeah, things are taking a little bit longer, but I think, nobody's looked at me and said, well, that's a really bad idea. We shouldn't do video. I don't believe in any of this. So.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen anybody say it's a dumb idea. Everyone knows they need to. It's just about when to start. I actually just had somebody that was allocating budget a few months ago for Vidyard licenses. Obviously, they see the value in it. They're considering it, and they want to put the money aside for it, right? And I reached out to her recently, and she's like, "Actually, no, we don't have the budget. We can't do it." So in my mind, I'm like, all right, so you're about to spend tens of thousands of dollars for this enterprise company to get all these Vidyard seats.
Yeah, right.
But now you're not. So your plans are on hold. So what can you do instead? So I'm like, hey, take myself out of the picture, take consulting out of the picture, take creating videos out of the picture. Let's talk a little bit about what you can do. And I said, hey, what you should do, because it's such a low barrier of entry for a business to start using video, is get your entire team on the free version. Say, this tool, we're buying this tool in the future. You need to start getting comfortable being on camera. We're going to start by doing internal videos. Before you meet with me as a sales leader, I need you to create, a quick 15, 20-minute video going over your numbers so we can get all that out of the way.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they start building that muscle. Next thing you know, they're getting a pro version or a paid version that has all these other capabilities that they can start using for revenue generation. So it's like, listen, if you know you're going to do it and you can't spend the money, there are still things you can do to start seeing results, right?
Well, I think if they follow you on LinkedIn, you're providing so much content on how to get started. It's ridiculous. And, I think I totally agree. The free model of any of these, whether it's Vimeo or Vidyard, whatever, but I think the experience that I've seen where customers that just practice, I think you just did a post a little while ago about, hey, just grab your phone and practice. Go in your bedroom and do 3 videos, start with 30 seconds, go to 1 minute, go to 2 minutes, and, I always say, start with, send your mom a video, right?
Exactly.
Send your mom a video, send your best buddy a video, prank somebody, do whatever you got to do to just practice being in front of that camera.
100%.
But I think, just that there's so much information now that's coming to light, combination of your post, and there's so many subject matter experts now in this space that there's a lot of great content. And I think the one thing that I see where a big aha comes from is when they use the Vidyard freemium in LinkedIn by sending a video in LinkedIn in their outreach. And or using it as a follow-up or making a connection. It's just so much more personal, and they see that response. And I think that helps elevate the requirement for management to say, hey, yeah, let's just start and buy some licenses and start practicing.
Huge integrations game, right? It's like, where are the critical uses, or where are the critical places in my business day to day where I'm talking to people and using, technologies for communication?
Mm-hmm.
Where do companies like Vidyard, for example, place themselves strategically to make it literally impossible for you not to just click once to make a video? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
right.
it's like HubSpot, or, I think Salesforce as well, SalesLoft, LinkedIn. It's like, instead of sitting there and just busting your fingers trying to, write this long text-based email, just click twice, talk, and send.
Right.
And they make it so easy for us. So you need to be doing
Right.
that, you know?
Right. And I did a video just a little while ago from my car. I had a brain fart and had to send somebody some information. And I was like, I don't feel like typing this out. I'm like in between meetings. And so my phone's right there in the holder. And I just did it, hit send, hit record, hit send. I don't need to be in front of a computer to do all of that. And
Yep.
yeah, super
So fun
easy.
you mentioned in the car. Right after I posted something recently, a good friend of mine, Adam, is a VP of sales at a large staffing company, or business development. And right after he saw my post, he was in a car as well. And instead of him sending me a text email saying, "Hey, good job on the video, we need to get together again, go to a hockey game," he sent me a 30-second video, and I started laughing. I'm like, he
Yeah.
didn't want to type, so he just pulled out his phone, and it's funny how like it kind of mends into your personal life sometimes too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny. I've even
That's
done
great.
that with dating. As funny as that sounds.
That's a good one.
Yeah, like instead of just diving into a DM by
Yeah.
type, I've actually recorded myself talking, and I've had some good responses and being like, and the girls going back to me and like responding with a video, and I'm like, not bad.
Nice. Nice. We got a whole new market there.
Yeah, exactly.
Eliminate the catfish.
Yeah. I was gonna say too, John. You mentioned something extremely important, and you are an incredible person to talk to about this, especially dealing with these large manufacturing companies where streamlining processes is extremely difficult but doable.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do to get a company that needs to learn these processes, and like, how long does it take to accomplish that goal?
Great question. I think just because of my experience in the industry, both in sales and marketing, I have a pretty good feel of the challenges that manufacturers go through. And I use the word commercialization of product. So when a company has a new product, and how fast they can get that product to market, and how to best leverage their sales team to, leverage video and have those, not only the high level marketing, right? You got the pyramid of videos, right? The high level, okay, yeah, you do your high polished video on the brand, right? Your marketing video. And then you've got the next section is a series of, feature benefit, guy standing in front of the camera, product manager, or, your subject matter expert on the product or category, giving the, just the facts, right? No salesy, no, no syrup and candy, just the facts, and deliver it in an authentic way. That's the way that I think, everyone wants to consume it. They want to see authenticity, and authenticity builds trust, right? So, and then the next level is teaching the sales team how to, one, use a series of videos, both their own as well as the product manager's video, in their sales process. So their speed to market goes much quicker, and the company has a lot more control over the message, and not necessarily trying to manipulate and make it perfect. But when you have the subject matter expert start with creating that content, then it makes it really easy for the sales team to use that content, not only to learn, they learn themselves. If you've got a company that's got a catalog that thick, the sales team they don't have the bandwidth or, mental calories to memorize every product. So the idea is, the end game is that the sales team has a library, again, Vidyard or Vimeo, they have a library from their phone that they can go and they can select a video and send that in their communication. So when I help companies understand that process, because really the video is just a medium. It's just a medium in which we're delivering information, and it's a much better medium than text and, stock photos or whatever. And and using video to streamline process. So the end game is your sales team are more effective. They save a lot of time. They're delivering a consistent message. And marketing, the idea is you bring marketing and sales a little bit closer together. And the other thing is, when I sit down with sales leaders, the most important thing is that the video strategy, or when they work with a strategist, is that sales actually owns this, because they're the ones that are getting asked the frequently asked questions all the time. They're the ones that are being they're closest to the customer. They know what the customer wants. Sometimes marketing can be a little bit detached from the day-to-day conversations that are happening with a customer. So I think capturing that information from the sales team, let the sales team own it. And when the light goes on, then management understands. And talking about budget, if they don't have budget, the higher up you go, they find the budget.
Yep. 100%. I also find, and I'm sure it's like this for Evolve as well, but when we're speaking to executives, or on the higher end of the spectrum, senior leadership, what I find is if they want this all done for them, a lot of the times they can't own it themselves. So I always find that one of the high requirements, and it's pretty much a mandatory do or die for me, is like, I need access to the right people in the company, because there's no one in the world that'll be able to speak better to what a customer cares about than salespeople. There's no one in the world that'll be able to speak to the personas and their pain points and
Exactly.
profiles and the marketing people. And there's no one that can speak better about the company and its vision and its mission than senior leadership. So I need all of them.
Yeah,
and
right.
If there's any of those that can't, then this is going to be operation canceled. We can't do it.
Right. Right. Well, and I think the big piece here is, when you think about a buyer's journey, and you and I, we're just two dudes, right? And we buy stuff, right? And what do? We use Google first. We go to Google. We have a need or a want, and we're going to go buy something. We're going to pull our wallet out, and we go to the company. We go to Google. We look at the company website, and if we don't find what we're looking for on the company website, then we go to YouTube, then we go to Amazon. And I think what we help companies do is interrupt that journey that's happening right now, and interrupt it and keep those eyeballs, attention, and interest on the company website, so they can control that journey a lot better than having someone go rogue on YouTube and be interrupted by a competitor, be interrupted by, maybe a review that's just not right. It's not true. And so I think humanizing that company website, when they can see the people, that they're going to be interacting with, and they see when you humanize a corporate website, that is another feather in the trust cap, right? They want to trust, and people, well, I think you said it. You and I were talking about it not too long ago. It's like, we've heard of B2B, we've heard of B2C, but it's really H to H.
I love that. Yeah,
that's right. It's human to human.
Yeah. Yeah. The one thing, and you could probably speak hours on this, I could speak hour on this, is the element of transparency and trust. A lot of times, if you were to put creating videos in the hands of a company, what happens is they become extremely biased towards their products, their services, sheltering themselves, ensuring that all roads lead back to them. Whereas companies need to start focusing on hitting the nail on the head on the questions that people are asking that they don't want to hear. And a really good example of this would be, I was talking to my dad about this, and I used to sell Hyundais. Genesis is a faction of Hyundai. The Genesis is a luxury vehicle. And if I were to go to a website, and for me as someone who's looking into Genesis, if you're not talking about the difference between a Hyundai and a Genesis, and you're trying to shelter it to say that, no, this is just a Genesis, but it's all built in Hyundai, why would you do that? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go find a bunch of unbiased articles of people talking about how they are actually similar or the same company, and it's probably going to be at your fault. And, I'm probably not going to end up purchasing the vehicle because I let someone else guide me down that road. So
Right.
answering those hard to answer questions, doing them the right way with class, and leaning into them is the absolute golden rule for transparency with video.
That's a great point. In the beginning, when we put together a roadmap with clients, we start with all the frequently asked questions and, certainly do the product videos, feature benefit stuff. But there's another series of videos where we get salespeople in a room and we say, who is your product not for?
Oof.
Right?
Yeah.
Be transparent on who this is not for. You will save a ton of time in your sales process. And I think the real courageous companies, the ones that really get it, are even willing to refer a competitor just to be transparent on what's best for the customer. And I think I work with distributors and manufacturers. So a distributor is a lot more attuned to referring a variety of different solutions, whereas a manufacturer, they just think their solution's the only one that works. When in reality, if you don't understand like your perfect customer and then a customer that doesn't fit, it's not a fit for, and be transparent about both of those, you're going to save a ton of time and money.
For sure. Who is this product or service not for?
Right.
The thing is I think just in human nature, when you watch something like that, if you know it's not for you, you did save everyone time and money. But if it is for you, it makes you look at that and go, this product indirectly is exactly what I need. It is for
Yep.
me. Because I've already taken out everything that I thought that this product's not for me, and the reasons around that just solidifies me that this is a perfect choice.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
what a powerful video that would be for a business.
Yeah. And I think it's critical. I think even in the process of uncovering this, getting a sales team in a room and getting leadership in a room, it's interesting to see how much Kool-Aid is they're drunk on of their own stuff, right? And when the salespeople come in and go, marketing's like, oh, it's for all these different types of customers, and sales goes, yeah, no, it's not. And then the truth comes out. And it's like, hey, we got to be really, really, really realistic about who this is not for, and not try and BS anybody. Yeah, if somebody's like, hey, I got a ton of money and I don't really care, I'm going to buy it. Great, let them buy it. But make sure that you're being authentic about who your ideal customer is and who it's not for.
You're gonna get better customers. You're gonna get customers that are gonna complain less.
Yeah.
And your customers will stay with you for a long time. You're not going to have half-baked customers that end up churning or saying, this is definitely not for me. We tried it for 3 months. We're not interested anymore. Say if you're talking about SaaS, for example, if you want to reduce churn and you want the right customers, and then you got to identify who they are and be extremely, extremely apparent or transparent about it.
Yeah.
You mentioned something about the customer behavior and like buying behavior, where Google to YouTube to a search engine, whatever it might be, to come up with an answer, and you want to try to retain those eyeballs and answer questions and make sure people are on your site and in your ecosystem. But what about the customer journey from when somebody lands onto your website to becoming a customer? That's something that I feel like a lot of people don't put together, and all roads always end up speaking to sales. But it's like, if I can't even picture coming onto your website, what that experience is going to be like with sales, how many meetings it's going to take, how long it's going to be, what I'm going to learn, what my onboarding looks like, and what customer support looks like, all in a super concise manner. You're leaving that up to imagination, and leaving things up to imagination and assumptions. We've all heard what that means. So yeah, we don't want to make an ass out of you, me, or our customers. And I think like that customer journey video, a customer experience video, is incredibly important.
Yeah, I 100%. I think in like the industry that I came from, a lot of manufacturers that don't sell, 100% direct to consumer, they use a distribution channel, and they kind of do a referral to a series of distributors. Like they might have distributors listed on their website, or when you hit a click to buy, it might go to a list of options. And I think, part of that's fine, there's a couple of pieces that have to happen, and knowing that a distributor, all distributors are going to sell probably at a little bit different price because of, you know, how they bought it, the volume that they bought it, where they bought it, what freight was involved, all that sort of stuff. But I think manufacturers make a big mistake by not publishing prices. Even if you say, like, you can put on your website, like, this is a suggested retail and you can expect to pay between this and this. That helps me so much without having to click every single item, because what they do is they go to every item, they put the list of distributors on every item, and I got to go to every item and then go through that list and see who's got what in stock, right? That's painful. Or see what the price is. So I think, number one, making sure your prices are in ballpark, and be honest. Number two is, if you ever lead a customer to filling out a form, you know, think about that personal experience when you're led to a form. Like, what do you think of when a company leads you to a form that you have to fill out? What's your first feeling?
The only way I'm filling out a form as if I'm in dire pain or in dire need of that product or service, and they're gatekeeping something that's, you know, it's going to make my problem worse, or is going to take too much time for me to go and find something else. But if it's not that much of a need, I'm out. I'm
Yeah.
out. I'm not getting
I,
anything.
what I hear is people don't trust. Like, you're going to spam me. You're going to have a salesperson hound me when I just need one question asked. And then third is that you're not going to get back to me in a timely manner. You're not going to, you know, this is just going to go in some marketing queue. And so I'm a big fan of putting a video right next to the form that says, here's what to expect. Like, don't fill out this form till you watch this video. And in this video, you'll learn, you know, the video starts and it's, hey, when you fill out this form, this is what's going to happen. We're going to reach out to you with it, one email and one phone call. And that's it. We're not going to put you in a spam. We're not going to put you in our CRM. We simply want to answer your question and guide you to the right solution to whatever it is that you need. That's it. And if you stick to that discipline and you be transparent about it, your form fills will go up probably 4 to 5 times.
That is gold. That is absolute gold. And that's another assumption that marketers and businesses make, that people already know what they're going to get into. It's like, if I know I'm not going to spam a customer, and this is just our method of ensuring that we can reach back out to you, it could even be because they just want to create a little bit of a database, say that. Hey, we're building out our database. We want to ensure that you get all the right information. But it's interesting because if you had a pop-up that popped up and said everything that you just mentioned, and someone had to read a little bit of a, you know, paragraph reminder of what the fill form is, they're going to skip that.
Yep.
I think having the human element in a video of an actual person explaining to you, using their body language, being very non-evasive, vulnerable, this is exactly what we're doing for, that goes a long way. So I think that 4 to 5 times increase is absolutely correct.
Yeah. And so that's interesting. It makes me think about, like, when you're working with a customer and they have, you know, pick a number, 5, say they got 5 salespeople. And you know the deal. There's multiple generations in the workforce now, and we have certain generations that have grown up with, you know, taking video of themselves, and there's certain generations that are not comfortable, that are just stuck in the mud. How do you address that?
It's a great question. It always starts with why. Like, they got to figure out exactly what they're doing this for. Number two, I realized pretty quickly, is that you can't convince everybody to do it and everyone to do it well. So you start with the why, helps them build out their own resilience and their own understanding as to why they're adopting a skill set like this. And the secondary portion for me as a trainer is to recognize that not everyone's going to do it, and not to take that to heart, even though I know it's incredibly useful in a sales setting. Those are the 2 major things that I've come to in terms of a conclusion. But I think starting slow is also incredibly important, because if you were to look at video, like you'd mentioned before, it's a medium. A medium can be placed anywhere. You're going to speak, text, chat, whatever it is, in so many different channels, especially digitally.
Mhm.
that if I were to sit here and give you my brain as someone who has no idea what they're doing to start and say, go and do it, it'd be way too much to handle. That's why I
Yeah.
always highly recommend start slow, make that first video and send it to a family member, make a video of you blabbing for 5 minutes and getting comfortable. These are the things that are going to enable you to get past that preliminary hurdle. Um, and another thing too is just making it extremely accessible for you too. You need to
Mm.
build the muscle. Like something is, if you're doing something every single day, in order to get past that habit and to build a new pattern, it's going to take some going against the grain. So I think leadership also needs to be able to put their hands in that and
Yeah.
assist in it.
That's a big one. I think, and it's hard, but I found that because, and I'm going to be blunt here, that generation that we're speaking of is typically in the C-suite, right?
Mhm.
So it's really tough to get that C-suite in front of the camera. But I found that when you can help coach them and tap into their subject matter expertise, and you think about when they like, you think about when they are really passionate about a particular topic. Now, I found that CEOs come from, one of the four departments, right? They either came from a sales background, they either got a marketing background, they got an accounting background, or they got an operations background. And if you can tap into one of those disciplines or where they came from and let them speak directly to that particular topic, that helps them get a little loosened up
Mhm.
versus putting them on a spot and thinking they need to do a state of the union or they need to come across like, hey, I'm in front of a huge audience or whatever. So making them
Yeah.
comfortable with the content that they're familiar with. And then the other thing that I think works really well is when, and I totally agree, you got to start slow. But I think one thing that works really well for us is that we take 2 or 3 salespeople that we know right away when we're in the room with a group of people, we know right away who's going to get this. And we get them in front of the camera as quick as possible and have them start sending out true sales videos. Like they'll jump right from, they'll skip over all the fun stuff and they'll just go right to, hey, I need to make this work and I need to make it for sales. And then we see the result that they get and we share that with the team to show them, hey, this is what it was like. Now you took a little, this is what it was like. Yeah, it was a little uncomfortable going down here and practicing and doing all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, boom, they're seeing results and they're saving time.
Yep. And it's a forever living, breathing skill set. You know what I mean? Like it's going to continue to change, just like cold calls has continued to change throughout history, right? Anyone who says they have the golden recipe to making the perfect sales video, based on the different subjects, the different use cases, and everything, there's no perfect one. There's
Right.
good frameworks, but something's going to work differently for other people. So that's the one thing, especially in our last classes that I teach. It's like, here's a framework. Here's some things that you can think about just to make sure that your brain is running smoothly as you're thinking about this. But
Mhm.
you are going to change your script over and over again until something works.
Yeah.
And
Right.
yeah,
Practice, practice, practice.
for
And
sure.
you think about it, salespeople for centuries have been giving sales pitches in front of customers and have refined their pitch when they're in front of a customer. They also read the room and look at, hey, how's this group going to perceive my presentation versus, the people that I was at before. And so knowing that a variety of different ways that you present or deliver your information is going to be, your customer. So if you know your customer, your prospect, you're going to tailor that engagement or that video to that audience. My dog just popped up.
Yeah, I saw, I saw.
He's on a couch over there.
One thing that I found too with sales videos in particular is that people want video to work like a magic pill, where it's like, well, hey, I learned something new, and I made a video, so this should 100% be receptive, and the person should receive the video and book a meeting with me. Where it's like, no, you got to put in the preliminary work, and sometimes it's not going to work, sometimes it is, and it's going to be continuous work. Like I remember one salesperson I was teaching, she went, I got to make 20 videos per day. That's that's my prospecting quota that I got from my
Wow.
business development manager, or sorry, 20 emails a day, 20 outreaches a day net new, which is quite low. And she goes, do I need to make 20 videos a day? That means, and I'm like, do you write 20 emails a day? She's like, yeah. Some of them are automated, some of them aren't, but I'm like, what's the big scare here? I mean, if you're going to make 20 cold calls in a day, what's the difference between doing that and, you know, clicking twice and speaking into a camera rather than speaking into a phone?
Yeah.
And some people sometimes also take the easy way out, and the easy way out also won't give you the results you're looking for, which is like, I'll just make one generic video and I'll send that to, you know, 10,000 people over the span of, you know, a few months. Okay, you might get a few responses, but it's not
Yeah.
gonna
I
be
mean,
as effective.
yeah, I think one of your, when I first started using Vidyard, one of the big ahas for me when prospecting, and if you're, and you can do this from your phone, you can do it from the desktop or the Chrome browser, but you have a video that is your core message that you may practice and polish and, you know, just kind of, you may even have something, you might send it over to somebody to edit it a little bit and throw a little bit of graphic in. But the power of like Vidyard is that you can daisy chain, or you can create chapters, or you can, you know, create a playlist, and you can still make that 15-second personal touch, you know, whether you hold up their name, whether you know, you've got their brand somewhere, or you just make it that introduction personal, and then have your primary content that you want them to understand, that you don't have to do over and over again. And then even taking it a step farther is making your video interactive with a call to action that drives them to a form, drives them to a website, a landing page, that and all of the benefit of all of that is you can track the engagement. You can see when somebody opened a video, you can see how far they played it through. You can see if they clicked on the call to action. You go to your marketing, and if your landing page is connected to HubSpot, you can see where the engagement's coming from. So I think, you know, again, when you get marketing and sales in the same room and you explain how this can really ease their, you know, frustration. The other thing too is, you know, the importance of hiring a videographer with these big, larger companies is that the videographer does the heavy lifting. I think too many companies, when we start talking about video, you know, there's always someone in the room that's like, oh, I got a camera and I used to do video in high school, and or my nephew can do it. And it's like, okay, great. But here's the job description. This person's going to own ideation to delivery and metrics on your dashboards, right? But the power of that is that if you set up a station in your office, just like this, like I just come in here, everything's all set up. I just hit 2 buttons on my Stream Deck and my lights are on, my camera's on, my whatever platform I'm ready to go in is all fired up. You can train salespeople to do that and just walk up, hit record, and then let your videographer, you know, whether he's there coaching you or not, say, hey, I just uploaded a video. I want these thumbnails. I want this title, and I need it ready by whenever. And if the salesperson does 3 or 4 or 5 videos all at once, that's the job for the videographer to get those all cleaned up and put in his folder. So the next day he can send those out, right?
Yep.
So instead of that salesperson or the marketing person or assistant or somebody trying to figure out that whole process, when we work with clients, you know, one of our requirements is you've got to have a videographer on staff. And that videographer's got to be proficient in editing and shooting, scripting, editing, that uploading to the variety of platforms, you know, making sure it's on the website, it's on your YouTube channel, it's in the folders for the sales team to use. And, you know, once you create that process, man, sales guys love it. They just, next day, it's like, hey, marketing just uploaded three new promotions that you can go out and do that introduction. Hey, Ollie, I got this new promotion. Check it out. At the end, you can send me a, you know, there's a call to action with an order form. Like,
Yeah.
super easy.
It's huge. I want to read this one sentence because I think this is incredibly. So basically, Marcus Sheridan, which you're very familiar with.
Oh, yeah.
There with the visual sale.
Oh, yeah.
I learned a lot from this. Anyone who wants to learn more about this kind of stuff should definitely check it out.
Yeah. Big fan.
Yeah, I love the Ask You Answer. It's a great book.
That's required reading.
Oh yeah, super good. They mentioned in the visual sale you are a media company, and I remember when I first started Vsawing, I started off just doing master classes, and now I've turned into a company that does production, company that does strategy, and even scalable like video campaigns for marketing. But ultimately, in the next 5 years, John, and I don't know what you think about this, but I think every company is going to be a media company.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What do you make out of that?
I think when companies understand two things, and again, video is just a medium, right? When companies understand how they can streamline a process using video, when they understand how they can create, I can go on and on. I use the term lobotomizing your subject matter experts and getting them on camera, and how important it is just for, obviously for selling, but for training. So when somebody is onboarded onto a company, you think about what they have to go through to train a salesperson, right? To train, and it takes a year for, they go around, they got to do ride-alongs with their peers, they got to do all this stuff, they got to see how everybody presents, and then they get paralyzed because they got to memorize all this stuff. Well, when you take that exercise of memorization out of the equation, and you provide your new staff with a journey, just like you would a customer, with content that's relevant to their role, the amount of time that would be, so that in itself, so we can talk about onboarding and even take it a step backwards on how powerful video media is for HR, right? So think of video instead of, don't send your resume, do a video. That's coming. That's already here. The millennials won't be doing resumes in 5 years. That's my belief. I think HR will leverage the power of video internally for onboarding. I think sales managers will use video for onboarding new sales teams. I think video will be more of a standard process with marketing. I think video, when you think of training a salesperson in the field to not just create a video and send it from a sales standpoint, but to be able to record customers using product, to be able to record customers giving a testimony, to seeing problems in the field that they can deliver information back to the product manager or the factory to alarm them of, or alert them of, issues with the product that can be, you think about the time that it takes to deal with a return and verify that return is valid because of an issue that the manufacturer caused, right? That process takes forever. It's extremely painful for consumers. But if the salesperson or consumer takes a quick video and the manufacturer has a process in place where they just upload it, approve that return, and you're done. No paperwork.
The use cases are absolutely endless. It's crazy.
Yeah.
When I think about like how companies are turning into media companies, like if I were to go to, let's say, a company that manufactures Q-tips, and I say, you're a media company, they'd be like, no, we're a Q-tip company.
Yeah.
But here's how I see in the next 5-10 years it unfoiling for companies to become media companies. Like you had mentioned, the use cases within a company are absolutely endless. Everyone is going to be armed with the opportunity to be able to record something and have all of that at least be unified, on brand, secure, internally in a business. But then instead of the use cases and some of the stuff in the trenches, what I see is a huge culture shift in the way that people view video before somebody even joins a company. Like when you're trying to become a salesperson at a company, they ask you, are you proficient in making cold calls? Are you proficient in, emailing? Well, video will also be that. What's your viewership on, on your videos that you create? Are you creating content, putting it on LinkedIn? Are you like socially out there with your videos? Like, so these are the things that I think people will see as almost like a requirement, not necessarily a nice to have, as a part of just becoming a part of the business.
Mhm.
But then who's the best marketer of a business? The best marketers of businesses are the people that are obviously within it that aren't marketers. Like
Oh,
if you have a sales team of 90 people and a marketing team of 5 people, imagine the power of your company turning into a media company where those 50 sales reps are all pushing out content, all pushing out video information, tidbits, product demonstrations, everything. This could be armed from marketing. This could be them recording themselves talking. So there's going to be that paradigm shift where it's like now your company is always generating media. But then I start to think about end users of products.
mhm.
So as it stands right now, for you as a company, if you can get as many outside third party unbiased influencers to be talking about your product and putting that information out there, people are going to land on it and end up coming to your website and purchasing your
Mhm.
product.
Mhm.
None of that is unnecessary tracked yet. So I wonder if companies are their company will be a media company, but then also their constituents and the end users of products will also have a play and also have a stake in the way that businesses are operating, where it's like, if I'm an influencer and a user of, I don't know, this Q-tip company, if I generate content about my ears being the cleanest ears in the West, then I get a kickback, or I get this, or I get that, or I get a percentage of profits. And I think it'll be extremely, extremely normalized. And so that's where your company becomes a media company, but I think your customers also become a part of that entire
Yeah.
recipe.
Yeah.
But who knows? That's like kind of future thinking. It's
Yeah.
already kind of starting to happen, but it's not as methodological as we might think.
Yeah. Well, I think what you said about attracting the right people to your company, and how today, you use that same psychology of a customer going to a company website and deciding whether or not they want to buy from them, is the same exact psychology of a someone who's interested to work for a company or is applying for a job and goes to the website and says, can I trust this company? Right? If I'm going to go work for this company, can I trust it? Is the website loaded with corporate speak and stock photos and, happy people shaking hands and all that? It's like, that's not the people. Those aren't the people. But if the CEO, the president, the VP, the sales manager, the product manager, if I start to see all these different personalities and I can relate to them, and I'm going to be attracted to them because they're being honest, they're being authentic, and the company has taken an initiative to humanize their website. It's not the customers is only just one piece of that attraction. It's the new employee that they're trying to attract. And, you said 5 years from now, we're already seeing it, but in the next 5 years, we're going to have some significant demographic shifts in the marketplace. And it's only going to get bigger with video content.
That's a great way of putting it. You know what I was just thinking, John? People that are in a company that get introduced this idea of creating videos, whether it's for selling, or whether it's them creating videos and posting it on LinkedIn as themselves, as an individual on their own personal accounts. A big reason as to why people might not do it is because they don't get paid to do it. I'm just thinking about this here. In what job description is creating, your own pieces of content around the business and supporting the business and their goals and their mission? Like, people don't get paid to do that. So I wonder if there's going to be a company out there, or a really adventurous, forward-thinking company that goes, listen, there's $10,000 extra on the table here if you hit this threshold of this many videos and content pieces that get this much type of viewership or this many impressions, there's your extra $10,000 a year.
Yeah.
Would
Yep.
you rather pay that individual at your company $10,000 a year to generate perfect content to the people that are buying your product? Or would you rather spend that $10,000 per rep for an agency that's going to sit around a board table and try to figure out what you want to talk about?
Yeah. Right. 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 Good point. I think, I've got two clients right now where they are hiring some new salespeople, and I interrupted the process with a paragraph, adding a paragraph to the job description of, you must be comfortable in front of a camera and be part of your job. It's not going to be, it's not like, hey, this is kind of an artsy thing. If you feel like doing it, it's going to be, look, this is the new medium. And the people that they're attracting is, again, these are millennials that are, making, I think the number we were looking at the other day was millennials are what was it? 70% of the buying decision in B2B is either made by or influenced by a millennial. So think about that. If that's the case, the video should be a requirement.
I couldn't agree more. It should always be a requirement. It's a normal part of life now.
That eliminates that trying to create that culture shift in a sales organization with people that have been, every company I go to, they've got the rock star that works out of a spiral notebook, and he's got 5 stellar relationships and he can get anything out of those customers, and he's always hitting his number. And why would he want to start creating video? But all too often he's the subject matter expert, right? He's the one who knows.
Sure. Do you have any introspect on production of videos? And I guess, like, when it comes down to hiring a videographer, what do you always suggest for the companies that you work with to take a look at?
So I have a good, better, best from equipment standpoint based on budget. Obviously, good enough is my cell phone shoots 8K.
Yeah.
And if you're disciplined in turning off all your notifications and putting it in airplane mode, and you don't need to make any phone calls or anything during the production, and you're willing to slap this into a tripod and put up a couple of Elgato lights and as basic, as a light ring and a good quiet space, that's a great start. You can do that for under $800,000. And then the next level is getting a decent webcam, like a really good, I'm a big fan of the Elgato face cam. Getting a really good webcam, same lighting, and starting there. And then the next one is invest in a good DSLR, invest in a good quality camera that's going to give you both the clarity and the better lens. It's going to, like the one I'm using here, it's just much better. It's a better look and feel. It's easy to use. And then there's different, editing, right? Like, obviously you want someone that's going to be able to edit in a product like Premiere or Camtasia, and they got to have some experience in workflow. And I think that's a big important part. But as far as equipment getting started, you can, sky's the limit. You can spend $10,000 on really nice gear and a studio and whatever. But we typically, when we do a initial roadmap of all the videos that need to be done, we look at what their requirements are going to be. That could, if I'm dealing with a RV dealer, they don't need a studio. They need to be in the RV, right? They need to be outside. They need to be mobile. They need to have, so we show them how to use a Gorilla Grip, how to use, kind of a selfie style, or set up a tripod in 3 different areas where you can, go 1, 2, 3. And then there's companies that are, I have some software companies where it's like there is no product, and they have to use people talking and graphics, right, to explain what their service is.
Mhm.
So, it really just depends on the company. But, I say right in the middle, 90% of the requirements for the video equipment, like really good, could be in the $5,000 range.
And would you suggest somebody outsource their video production rather than hire a videographer, or would you say that there's no one size fits all?
So I feel I'm pretty passionate. This is a Marcus Sheridan thing. I'm pretty passionate too about having somebody dedicated at your company. And the reason I believe that is because that person then becomes a part of your business. They become very knowledgeable about your business and your processes and your services and all that sort of stuff. And they become, they're an employee of the company. So they're going to own that content. The other
Mhm.
thing is that instantaneous, or I keep calling them brain farts, but if you got a quick video you need to do, having a contractor and tracking that person down and scheduling and having them come in and do that video and back and forth. I think having someone there is much better. Now your upfront costs are going to be a little bit more. But over time, if you think about that person doing 2 to 3 videos a week, and that's again, that full process from script writing, interviewing your sales team, marketing team, whatever, to script writing, to creating the content, setting the schedule, doing the shoot, doing the editing, doing the posting, all of that. It takes the heavy lifting off of the salespeople, and they can do more impromptu productions. If a company is really struggling with budget and whether or not they need to, how all in they're going to be, I'm fine if they want to use a external agency as a bridge to get them, started with a videographer, because I think, and I'm totally fine with that, because I think what we would do is we would roadmap, at least 20 videos, and then let them produce those 20 videos. And in that time period, the company can kind of gauge what kind of content they're going to be creating and how long it's going to take. And then they'll start to see the value of bringing somebody on.
Yeah. These are all really difficult things to go through. I mean, like, you can't have no knowledge of video whatsoever and go into this and be like, I'm gonna do it all myself.
Yeah.
It's
It's overwhelming.
incredible.
It's
It's
too
very,
much.
it's a full-time job.
Yep.
Like, even just managing something like that for
Yep.
an organization that's planning an overall
Yep.
video strategy, it's not a simple thing. Now, I also do really encourage and get inspired when I do see some of the companies that I work with go, you know what? I think we got a good grasp of this. I think we know exactly the products we want to talk about. We know this, we know that. We got someone here that has a camera that recorded, that has done video before. I think that's great. Get
Hmm.
started. By
Yeah.
all means, go and do it.
Yeah.
But just make sure that you have an end goal in mind, because it's very easy to start making videos that have no point to them,
Yeah. Right.
especially not understanding where the videos are going, how to use them, the right technology. So don't get flustered in the idea of making the videos. Be obsessive about what you're going to do with these videos
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what they can do for your business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And be obsessive about your customer, right? Be
Huge.
obsessive about the questions they want answered.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. I think, it's when companies take on the whole video process, and they ask us like, hey, how long is the engagement with Evolve? And it obviously depends on the size of the company and how many locations they have, and if their sales team is local or remote. There's a lot of different factors, but we tend to say it's going to be anywhere from 9 to 18 months. And then when they hear 18 months, they're like, what the heck are we gonna, what, 18 months?
Yeah.
And with this kind of project or this kind of culture change, it's a game of inches. It
Mhm.
really is a game of inches. I think what companies often want is they want immediate gratification. They want immediate success. They want their first video to be a hit. We're all a little guilty of, hey, how many plays did I get? How many times did it get watched? But training them on It's not how many times it gets watched, it's how many engagements you get, right? How effective was that video? And that takes practice. And so over time, it can take 18 months. And when you get into the full evolution of video strategy, it's not only the video that you initially create, but it's the dashboard of metrics in your HubSpot, in your Vidyard, in your CRM. It's the drawing a line right to the video to a sale or a quality engagement with the right customer. That's where people, I think, go, oh, okay, obviously you can't do that overnight.
No, it doesn't happen overnight, and sometimes it doesn't happen for a few months.
Yeah.
It's not an overnight thing whatsoever. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something
Yeah. Yeah.
people definitely have to get past that mindset where it's just create videos and throw them on YouTube.
Right.
That's no longer a strategy. That's like I'd say it's kind of like a caveman strategy still.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
bonk an animal on the head, bring it back, and put it over a fire. And it doesn't work like that anymore, right? It's changed.
that's so funny because I've gone into companies and they're like, well, we already make videos. We already got it. We're making a lot of videos. And I'm like, okay, let me go look at them. Let me go, where are they? Oh, we got them. They're all on YouTube. So do you use YouTube on your website? Yeah, we just embed that same YouTube code. I said, are you tracking the metrics? Well, yeah, we're getting our Google Analytics and we've got all these vanity, they basically have vanity metrics. That's all they're
Yep.
looking at. They have to report it. Marketing is so addicted to vanity metrics, and it's a checkbox for the upper management's like, hey, go create video, let's do some branding, let's show engagement, and they put up this Google Analytics dashboard of all these engagement, all these plays, right? It's really just eyeballs. It's the old, hey, magazine's got X readership and we're going to get the inside cover, so we're going to get 20,000 eyeballs on our ad. Like, yeah, but nothing ever happens. Like,
Yeah, it reminds me of like if you're a dealership and you're counting every car that drives by and peers their head to the right and looks at the cars on the showroom.
yeah, billboard advertising, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think there's on the technical side,
Mm-hmm.
training companies not to use YouTube on their website. And I always get this like, whoa, why would I not use YouTube on our website? It's free. It's like, yeah, do you know that, can you control the post roll? Well, what's
Yeah.
that? Oh, that's when all that other crap shows up when the video's done. Or did you know that when you upload it to Google, you don't own it anymore? Or when you upload it to YouTube, you don't own the video anymore. Read the fine print. The second you upload a video to YouTube, you don't own it. You've given them rights to do whatever they want. That means they can put ads in it. Your competitor can buy ads that are related to your video to make sure they come up in a post roll. Like, there's so much danger. You do all this work on video production, you follow all the right steps, and then you use the wrong platform on your website.
Yep. 100%.
And so people don't get that. And they're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, when you explain the technical aspect of it and get them off the free nipple, right, and show them by using a quality platform like Vimeo or even Vidyard's good for sales, but Vimeo is good for that homepage or the content that's on your website. Yeah, you should have a YouTube channel. Well, wait a minute, you just told me not to use YouTube. No, people go to YouTube to learn about your company before they go to your website sometimes. So you need something to drive them to your website. When they get to your website, you don't want them to leave. Do you know how to make that YouTube button on the bottom go away? Because I can click on that. I'm a YouTube premium viewer, and every time I get a video on someone's webpage, I click on the little YouTube thing so I can watch it on my channel. I can watch it on my premium.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah, there's 1,000 reasons as to why YouTube can't be a YouTube only strategy. That post roll thing's a killer. It actually takes people off your website completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a whole conversation to be had also about like search engine optimization for videos on YouTube. How like if you answer 100 questions about your company and you put the descriptions right, you put the search right, and you find the right keywords, that people are going to find your company and funnel back into your website. But that's for another time.
Yeah.
John, I appreciate it. I have to jump at 3. I actually have to meet with Wistia, because one of my customers is looking at Vidyard versus Wistia. So
Great.
let
Me know how that goes. I think Wistia, Vidyard, and Vimeo's new product is really good.
I gotta check theirs out. I think I'm gonna ask for it just so I'm locked and loaded with it.
Yeah, man. Hey, Ali, it's always a pleasure. I love you, man. I'm so glad that you made the jump and joining video strategy journey. And I wish you the absolute best of luck, man.
Thanks. We're gonna keep doing this. We'll do this like once a month, and we'll just have information. So
and we can even be a little more prepared and just put some questions on, that we go through.
Let's do that. Let's do that for next time for sure. We'll go back and forth.
I think we got some meat out of this.
Trust me, once you watch us back, you will be able, I guarantee you, each one of us will have like 20, 30 clips. And if there's anything that you rewatch that you go, hey, I don't want that, don't post that. Let me know and do the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, no, that went pretty good.
Awesome, man.
And I need practice. So
that's it. That's all it is.
Practice.
Take care, dude.
You too. Take care, buddy. Bye.